Well, this has been a long time coming, hasn't it? Super Venom. Now to explain this car, I need a triangle. This is the triangle of agility, power and grip. Armour is a separate thing entirely, and in short it sacrifices grip and agility for a tiny amount of power. In this triangle we can put some dots to represent cars. Now let's try to think of a car that's not very powerful but has very good agility and grip. Raiden, of course. Or what about a car that's not very grippy, but is agile? Well, the Gremlin is pretty perfect to describe that. But what happens when you get a car that plots, well, here? I think this is really the best way to describe the Super Venom. It's, well, a monster, to be honest. It has enough power to restart a dying planet, and so little grip that, well, on the new snow tracks, yeah, Super Venom is my favourite car in the game. I feel like that's kind of obvious, purely because it goes sideways everywhere. It is a handful for the majority of players, and there are a few who can drive it without stability control, but to do so and not sacrifice time is extraordinarily rare. As far as describing how it handles, I guess I would call it playful. It's quite stiff, which gives it its amazing acceleration, but because of the lack of grip cornering, can't really be done without forcing the car to oversteer at slow to medium speeds. So if you want to stop one from turning, just sit on its outside corner, at least at slow to medium speeds. If this is happening to you as a Super Venom driver, you can handbrake turn through the corner, and this will throw the back of the car around, which can throw players off and will completely ruin their line, but any good player will force through the inside. The Super Venom has so little grip that it can basically be pushed wide at will by any player inside of you. If you can get to them after the straight, that is. As far as learning to drive this car goes, there are a few things that you can do. I would start by braking and handbraking at the same time. The handbrake will allow you to turn the car while keeping it in a relatively straight line. This will give you the turning angle that you need to start a turn, of course sacrificing braking distance. You'll see me doing this on the second to last corner on this track. This way the car will begin to rotate on its own with very little input. You must be careful that you don't over-rotate though. This will be catastrophic in any car, but particularly in this. It'll usually be willing to snap out of a drift, so you can counter-steer out of the turn very slightly to gauge if it's over-rotating or not. If it is, you just need to get rid of power and hope that no one will spin you, because a gentle tap will do it, and obviously keep steering out of the corner. Aside from that, it's got very big wheel arches. I don't find them annoying now, but learning to play the car, you'll find that these hook on other players really easily, making it extremely easy to spin you. If this happens, I like to brake slightly to get the player alongside me, which will give me a lot more options on what to do with them. In general, the Super Venom, despite being so stiff in terms of suspension, this of course making it snappy when you're landing jumps, it's actually very loose handling. The rear will step out if it's touched at all by players or by you, and it's kind of a shame that that giant spoiler does nothing. Well, not that it would anyway if there was airflow, except from, making excellent slipstream for the players behind you. Unlike the Raiden and the Hammerhead, this is not a very beginner-friendly car, and because of that, I would make the argument that it's not actually that overpowered. Don't get me wrong, despite all of its nerfs, it's still comfortably top 3, and that's one of its biggest issues. Like with the Raiden, this gets focused in, well, honestly every server, because everyone knows if you give a Super Venom an inch in a straight, it will gain a mile. Whereas at least with the Raiden, you can tell that, well, if you can make it slow in the corners, it will struggle to chase you after the fact. And what a perfectly timed ending. The race you saw here was part of the Black Flag Saturday night event. If you join the Discord and participate in these events, you can get free Discord experience. Or if you just want to flex with having top points in the race, then, well, feel free to join. Aside from that, thank you for watching.